Good evening, everyone. Hello, hello, hello. My name is LaKeesha Hines. You are watching SOS, where I am saving our sex lives one bedroom at a time. Hello, everyone. I'm so excited to be here with you this evening. Thank you for being here. I already see that I have comments in the feed. And so drop your name and where you are streaming from so I can shout you out. Be sure to drop your questions. Do it early so I can address your questions before the end of the night. Hello, all. Today is Tuesday. I don't know how your week is going thus far. I don't know how your day was, but mine was amazing. Absolutely amazing. So I hope you all have had an amazing day as well. So, this is one of those topics. This is one of those topics where it's very sensitive for sure. It can be very emotional, and so I'm very sensitive to that, you guys. But we are going to go through. We will do this together. We will get through it together. It's in three parts because there's a lot to cover. So I am not going to delay. We are going to jump right in. We are talking about sex after betrayal. We know that after there has been infidelity, there's been betrayal, there's been a violation of some sort, that jumping back into sex is can be really uncomfortable. It can make individuals very um nervous, and it requires a certain level of vulnerability and trust, and sometimes, frankly put, couples jump back into sex too soon. And unfortunately, they don't realize it until it's too late. There have been couples that I have worked with where literally the betrayed jump back in too soon and is crying in the middle of the act, crying right after. There's so many signs, and we'll talk about some of those that alert you that maybe they've jumped back into sex too soon, or that you jumped back into sex too soon. So we will talk about those things. We most certainly will. All right. So, but like I said, do not forget, drop your questions because I definitely want to respond to any questions that you guys have. And, feel free to drop your comments as well. If this is resonating with you, let me know. Let me know. Let me know. So, after an affair, there are many times that we'll have family and friends try to give advice, and a lot of times they try to uh encourage the betrayed, and they'll say stuff like once a cheater, always a cheater, or how could you ever trust this person again? How could you stay with this person after what they did to you? And they mean well. Many times they do mean well, but really what they're doing is making it more difficult for you to be focused and to make a decision about what it is that you want to do. They might be encouraging you to leave your spouse, and that's not wise counsel. It is just not. And so, the most important thing is for you to try your best not to make any major choices or decisions about your marriage or your committed partnership right away. Because right after the discovery, right after D Day, right, most people are in phase one of the erotic recovery process, and it is the crisis stage. There are three phases of erotic recovery. We will be talking about all three, not tonight. I broke it up into three different parts. But so we're only focusing on the first phase, which is the crisis phase. That's all we're talking about tonight. So as long as you are safe, if there are children involved, as long as the children are safe, you really need to treat yourself as if you've just been through a major car accident, a major collision. Because typically what happens with infidelity, like literally you are riding down just picture yourself, right? You're riding down the highway, listening to your favorite song, you're just jamming, living your best life, and then all of a sudden, boom, you get sideswiped by like a Mack truck, right? And it just completely knocks you off your feet. And w- the same way your car might be in pieces, it feels like your life has been smashed to pieces after you discover that there's been an affair. And this will pass, but right when you're in the midst of it, it literally feels like everything is falling apart. And so oftentimes what will happen is, against your better judgment, you still may choose to re-engage in sexual activity with your spouse. And you might be having more sex than ever before. And it's passionate and it's intense, but you still may not be emotionally ready. So during this crisis phase, just some of the signs, some of the symptoms of being in the crisis phase is feeling emotionally unstable, literally like your emotions are all over the place, and it just feels like you're unable to just get control of your thoughts, your feelings. um I, like, it literally feels like you have mood swings, right? Because one day, you may be fine, you're doing okay, but then the next day, you literally feel as if you, I don't know, like you just can't seem to get control of your emotions. And literally, you may be, like I said, crying one moment, and then the next moment, laughing, feeling good about the situation, feeling hopeful. Um, you may be feeling like, okay, we definitely can do this. And then the next day, feeling as if you can't. So that emotional instability is a real thing, because again, it has your emotions just fluctuating up and down and all around. Because again, you're in this crisis phase. The next sign or symptom is loss of sleep. And a lot of that has to do with, um, your mind just constantly racing and just constantly playing over and over your D Day. And the more traumatic D Day was, um, the more you may again play it over and over in your mind. Um, it also could be you're losing sleep because you're uncomfortable sleeping next to your spouse anymore. Because a lot of times you feel like, I don't even know this person. I don't know who this person is. And so you may be uncomfortable in your bed. You may be uncomfortable in your own home. And so you literally may have difficulty sleeping. And then again, like I said, you're replaying D Day over and over and over again. So loss of sleep is very, very common in the crisis phase. Next sign or symptom, you may have to remind yourself to take care of yourself. You literally may have to remind yourself to eat at all, right? And sometimes it's you have to remind yourself to eat healthy, because if you're an emotional eater, you may crave those things that are not good for your body, that are not healthy. You may crave sweets, you may crave salt, right? And so whatever it is, a fat, you may crave those things again that are not healthy for you to eat, which ultimately will make you feel worse. It's counterproductive. Like you may be eating to try to make yourself feel better, but if it's not healthy food, it's actually could make you sluggish. And like I said, it can make you feel worse if you're not eating healthy. And so literally just you may have to remind yourself to take care of yourself, because you're just so overwhelmed, and just dealing with so many emotions and thoughts and feelings, and just not sure what to do. And just again, you have that emotional stability, loss of sleep, and so you may have brain fog, right? So you do, oftentimes, or I find that couples who are going through this, one or both have to remind themselves to take care of themselves. Because remember, when infidelity happens, it affects both parties. many times we feel as if it's just the person who's been betrayed, but it actually affects the betrayer as well. And they're feeling guilt and shame and remorse and feeling all of these things, and literally maybe beating themselves up because they allowed themselves to do something that probably goes against their own morals, values, ethics, standards. And so they're really trying to rationalize and figure out how they got to that place that they were in, which is typically a dark place. And so they need to remind themselves to take care of themselves as well. So, again, this is during this crisis phase. The next sign or symptom is intrusive thoughts. And this definitely, I have heard over and over and over again. I don't know not one betrayed spouse who has not had intrusive thoughts about the affair. And typically, what happens is they will demand to know details about the infidelity. Um, which can lead to more intrusive thoughts. So, we caution couples all the time to be mindful about that process. And this is why we want you to reach out to us as soon as, right after D Day. Like, we want you to reach out so that we can help walk you through this process and help you navigate it in a healthy way so that it doesn't do more harm than good. And so when you're having these intrusive thoughts about the affair and you're demanding to know details about the infidelity, it could lead to conflicts and even arguments, between you and your spouse, because it's so much information and you're completely blindsided with a lot of this. Like, spouses have said often, like, I don't even understand how you could do this. And, how did I miss it? And it just leads to a lot of negative conversation, negative thoughts, negative responses, and couples really, really struggle again with these intrusive thoughts for sure. Um, I don't know, like, I think everybody's different, but I think we can all agree that, again, the thoughts are something that are beyond the individual's control, and the betrayer oftentimes will get angry with the betrayed because they are having these intrusive thoughts as if they can control it, and they can't. Like, again, it's intrusive, meaning it is bombarding its way into that person's brain and they have absolutely no control over it. So there has to be a level of patience and compassion and understanding toward the betrayed, because they literally have no control over these thoughts that are popping into their minds. All right. The next sign or symptom could be having more passionate and intense sex, as I mentioned before. And that is for multiple reasons. Um, Sometimes, many times, it's because of fear. The betrayed may re engage in sex too soon with their spouse because they're afraid that if they don't, that their spouse is going to leave or they're going to cheat again. On the betrayer side, they may re-engage too soon because they're afraid too. They're afraid that they're going to lose their spouse. And so, both parties may have this sense of desperation to want to connect, or just to embrace and be held and to have that physical touch and affection. One or more, one or both, I'm sorry, actually may crave the feeling of being intimate, and again, just being held and embraced and being in each other's arms. A lot of times couples are embarrassed to tell their counselor or their friends that they've resumed having sex, and because they realize that it's soon, right? And they're afraid of the judgment, also what someone else might say if they communicate to someone else that, hey, we're back having sex again post infidelity. And also, a lot of times, the betrayed will have some feelings of regret after re-engaging, because they don't want their spouse to think that just because we're having sex again, that means that they're forgiven. And so, um, that's why we have to be so mindful and so careful before we re-engage. And the reason oftentimes that infidelity happened in the first place, because there's been distance created between the two of you. And you might find that after infidelity that you're even more drawn to each other, to use sex as comfort, but not only as comfort, but to express what's known in the animal kingdom as mate guarding. And this primal mate guarding is a way to actually lay claim to one another when monogamy has been threatened. And so it's something that, we hear over and over and over again that couples do. And literally, it's about trying to regain control after control has been lost. All right. So hopefully this is helping you guys. We're going to take a quick break and then we'll come back and I'll jump into the rest of the signs and symptoms that you were in this crisis phase. So do not go anywhere. We'll be right back. Thank you so much.
Welcome to the Couples Academy app. The Couples Academy app is your go-to hub for how to do marriage right. Get started with our app today by perusing our amazing features that conveniently allow you to connect. This app is packed with powerful content and resources to help you grow and stay connected. With this app, you can watch our messages, find marriage resources, watch, listen, and read the real-life stories of restored couples, sign up for events, read articles and blog posts, stay up to date with push notifications, share your favorite messages via Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, or email, and download messages for offline listening. For more information about the Couples Academy app, go to couplesacademy.org.
Welcome back. Welcome back. You're watching SOS. Again, my name is LaKeesha Hines, and tonight we're breaking down sex after betrayal, and this is part 1. Remember, this is a 2-part series, so make sure you are tuning in for the next few weeks so you can get the other phases of erotic recovery after betrayal. So I want to shout out the people who are here. Hello, Mr. Ben. Hello, Dolores, DKF1217, Terry. Hello, whoever Facebook user, whoever you are, Cameron, Antoine, Robin, Evan, M076, JG, and Antoine. Thanks for watching. All of you who did not drop your name or where you're streaming from, it's all good. Thanks for watching. So let's dive back in. We are talking about stage 1 of the recovery phase after there's been a betrayal, trying to return back to having sex after there has been a betrayal. And so our last point that we talked about was having more passionate and intense sex. And I just wanted to kind of round that out and just really kind of give everyone who may be experiencing that just to validate you a little bit and let you know that it's a natural result of a new relationship being formed. It's like, Who is this person that you thought you knew? And what was it about their affair partner that attracted them to that person, or that brought out, or that affair brought out of them, that you hadn't seen in them, or wasn't brought out of them within your marital relationship? And the reality is this, many times we feel like we know everything there is to know about our spouses. But after there's been infidelity, you realize, like, maybe I didn't know everything about this person. And so, it's very painful. It is very painful learning that your spouse stepped out, they were unfaithful. But at the same time, even though there's pain, there can be a new sense of allure, a new sense of allure, um, like a new longing, a new attraction, um, that is emotionally charged for both of you, because you're looking to find something that was missing. You're looking to tap into something that you have not tapped into before. And so it can bring about this new desire, new passion, new charge. It can bring that about for both of you post infidelity. The next sign on the complete opposite end of the spectrum is there could be no sexual connection at all, no connection at all during the crisis phase, because there's so much betrayal, there's so much hurt, so much pain, so much anger, resentment, bitterness that, the betrayed can't even imagine ever connecting to their partner again. And so, and also that could be on the opposite end for the betrayer too, where they could have some angerness, bitterness, resentment, or whatever toward their spouse, which could have been one of the things that led them to cheat, and they didn't handle it and deal with it appropriately. They didn't talk to their spouse, just like they didn't talk before. Maybe on the back end of this, you guys have to talk to each other about your feelings. You have to share. If you don't feel ready to have sex, that's betrayer and betrayed. And maybe you're okay with some intimate physical time together, like maybe just cuddling, holding each other, holding hands, or whatever. But maybe intercourse is too much, and it's okay. You guys need to take your time, and you can find other ways to feel safe as you're moving through all of the phases of recovery. And so it literally also may take time to recover your own self esteem. And that could be on both sides as well, specifically for the betrayer. They often feel as if there was something wrong with them, something going on with them that caused their partner to cheat. And sometimes that is the case, but most times it's not. There's something going on within the betrayer that they need to address, and they need to heal, and they need to deal with. That doesn't mean that the betrayed is perfect, and there are not areas of opportunity for the betrayer. I'm sorry, for the betrayed. But the betrayed did not make the betrayer go out and cheat. It's a conscious decision that the betrayer made. And so if you find that you're not quite ready, even if you have re-engaged, it's okay to slow down the process and not put that pressure on yourselves to have sex before you're ready. And so whether you are being sexual or you're shut off, you will be able to move past the crisis phase eventually. If you do it in a healthy way, and the speed at which you do it is contingent upon whether or not you get help, whether or not you get support. And this is one of the reasons why we are here. We are here to support you. We're wanting to make sure that you can reach out. And it's important that you do that, because you cannot, nor should you, go through this process alone. You should not go through this process alone. You have a team here who can support you and help you navigate this entire process. And, if you are at this point where you've gone through most of the steps, or if not all of the steps, that we've taken you through in terms of infidelity recovery, and you are ready to re-engage, then make the call and let me help you with re-engaging in sex. with your partner, because again, it is a process. And so we encourage you to reach out and get the support that you need. So, again, never an issue to slow down the process. Whenever there is pressure to have sex, it kills the libido, it destroys the libido. And so you never want to pressure anyone or be in a position where you are being pressured to have sex if you're not ready. But that's a conversation that you need to have with your spouse. All right, so I got a little bit of time here. I'm going to try to jump in and answer you guys' questions. Ben says, "Good evening from Nashville. As a unfaithful who was demonized for their drive during this process, how am I even supposed to come back to normal in this arena? Be wary in this process. Um, some counseling can cause damage. Not all men's on switch stays on. Not all men's issues are performance related or their health level. That is true. I do believe that sex begins in the mind, truthfully. And so mentally, if you're not in a good headspace, it will affect your ability to physically perform. Um, so you're wanting to know, how are you supposed to come back to normal in this arena? Well, I mean, it sounds you saying that you were demonized for your drive. It's one of the things that I covered in a previous show, that there's often desire discrepancy between partners, right? Where one person has a really high libido, the other one has a lower libido, and oftentimes both are criticized. The high libido criticizes the lower, and the lower criticizes the higher. But the fact is, we're different, and our drives may not be the same. And so we can work through that. We have to find balance. Everything is about balance, communicating wants, wishes, and desires, and being open and willing to receive and to make the necessary adjustments. So, because I know you and I know your situation, the issues that are not being addressed are the issues that are outside of the bedroom. And so until you guys are able to address those issues and heal those areas that are damaged and broken, it will continue to affect your sex life. So you got to deal with the other issues, the things that led up to the disconnect in the first place. So that's where I would start. Let's see. Evan M076 says, "Not feeling like I look at sex the same afterwards. I just do it because I'm supposed to have, I'm supposed to. Sorry. I just do it because I'm supposed to. Have no desire and am just going through the motions. I feel like I could be doing something else. Pray for me." Yeah, Evan. And you know what? This is very common. And thank you for sharing that. Thank you for your honesty. I mean, it's the truth. This is what a lot of couples deal with. And so you should not do it just because you're supposed to. You're saying you don't have desire and you're just going through the motions. And so you're not enjoying it. Most likely your partner isn't enjoying it to the best of their ability. And keep in mind, just because someone has an orgasm doesn't mean that they have pleasure, doesn't mean that they're enjoying what's happening, right? And so it sounds like there's some other issues going on that need to be addressed. And again, this is why I'm saying reach out, get the support, get the help that you need, so we can address the issues outside of the bedroom, and ultimately that will impact you within the bedroom. You never should just be going through the motions. And when you say you feel like you could be doing something else, your mind probably is somewhere else when you are engaging in that activity. And that's not fair to you. And it's not fair to the person who you're sleeping with. So reach out, get help, get help, get help, get help. Um, and so you guys, literally, the crisis phase is real. It is such an emotionally charged phase. It is one of those phases where, often there's a lot of hopelessness and you're feeling as if you will never recover from this, but that is not true. That is a lie. You can recover, but you got to get help. So reach out, get the support that you need. So again, like I said, 3-part series. We'll be covering the next phase of your erotic recovery from sex after betrayal. And so make sure you are tuning in. Make sure you like, share, subscribe. Make sure you share with your friends and family and those who you know may be going through the same thing and are in need of assistance. All right. So you guys have a wonderful, wonderful evening, and I will see you next week for part 2. All right. Take care, you guys. Have a good night.